The giant space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between stars. It was neutral ground, a place where different alien races could meet without fighting. Today, it would host the most important meeting in human history. Ambassador Li Huan walked through the long metal corridors of the station. His black diplomatic suit was neat and clean. Behind him walked two other humans. Park Gina wore a military uniform with shiny medals. She was tall and strong, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Kim Dae-ho carried a datapad and wore simple clothes. He was the team's expert on alien biology and behavior. "Remember," Li Huan said quietly, "we are here to make peace. But we must not accept anything that hurts humanity." Park Gina nodded. "The aliens think we are weak. They think we will take any deal they offer." "Let them think that," Li Huan replied. "Sometimes it is better when your enemy does not know your true strength." They reached the main meeting room. It was huge, with a round table in the center. The ceiling was made of clear glass, showing the stars outside. Already, the alien representatives were sitting at the table, waiting. The Velkans sat on one side. They looked like giant insects with 6 arms and black shells. Their leader, High Command Zulmak, had red eyes that glowed in the dark. The Velkans were famous for their advanced technology and their pride. Next to them sat the Thylaurians. They had blue skin and large heads with no hair. Their eyes were white and seemed to see through everything. Chancellor Vexthari was their leader. The Thylaurians could read minds and control thoughts. They believed this made them superior to all other races. The third group was the Korvax hegemony. They looked like bears but walked on 2 legs. Their thick fur was gray and their hands had sharp claws. War Marshal Vekvar was huge, even for a Korvax. He had scars on his face from many battles. Li Huan and his team took their seats. The human side of the table looked very small compared to the aliens. "Finally," Zulmak said. His voice sounded like metal scraping against metal. "The humans have arrived. We have been waiting." "We apologize for the delay," Li Huan said politely. "Our ship had some technical problems." Vexthari's white eyes stared at Li Huan. "We know you are lying. Our psychic sensors detected no problems with your ship. You were simply trying to make us wait." Li Huan smiled. "You are correct. We wanted to see how patient you were." Vekvar slammed his large fist on the table. "Enough games? We are here to end this war. 3 years of fighting is enough." "Indeed," Li Huan agreed. "Humanity wants peace. We have always wanted peace." "Then you will accept our terms," Zulmak said. He pushed a data tablet across the table. "These are the conditions for ending the war." Kim Dae-ho picked up the tablet and began reading. His face remained calm, but Park Gina could see his hands shake slightly. "Would you like to read the terms?" "Out loud?" Li Huan asked. Kim Dae-ho cleared his throat. "The conditions are as follows. First, humanity must give up 70% of all colonial worlds. Second, all human military forces must be reduced by 80%. Third, all human technology must be shared with the Galactic Council. Fourth, humans may not travel beyond their designated space without permission. Fifth, all human trade must be approved by alien authorities." The room was quiet. Li Huan listened to every word without changing his expression. Kim Dae-ho continued reading. "Sixth, humans must pay war reparations equal to 50% of their total economy for the next 20 years. Seventh, alien observers will be placed on all human worlds to ensure compliance. Eighth, humans will have no voting rights in the Galactic Council for 50 years. "These are generous terms," Vexthari said. "We could simply destroy all human worlds if we wanted." "Very generous," Vekvar agreed. "Most races would not get such a good offer after losing a war." Li Huan looked at each alien carefully. "But we have not lost the war." "You have not won it either," Zulmak replied. "Your ships are outnumbered 10 to 1. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. Your colonies are surrounded." "This is true," Li Huan admitted. "We are at a disadvantage." "Then you will accept our terms?" Vexthari asked. Li Huan was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the data tablet again. Then he looked at his team. Park Jina gave him a small nod. Kim Dae-ho did the same. "These terms are interesting," Li Huan said finally, "but I have some questions." "What questions?" Dekvar growled. "The 70% of colonies you want. Does this include our agricultural worlds?" "Yes," Zulmak answered. "And the mining worlds where we get our metals?" "Yes. What about our research stations? All of them?" Li Huan nodded slowly. "I see. And the military reduction. Does this include our defensive forces?" "All military forces," Vextari said. "You will keep only small police units for local problems." "What about our space fleet?" "Reduced to cargo ships and small patrol vessels. And our weapons manufacturing?" "Forbiddance." Li Huan leaned back in his chair. "So humanity would have no way to defend itself if someone attacked us." "Who would attack?" "You?" Vekvar asked. "You would be under our protection." "Your protection?" Li Huan repeated. "Like a pet is protected by its owner." The aliens looked at each other. They had not expected the human to be so direct. "You are being emotional," Vextari said. "This is a logical solution to end the war." "Logical for whom?" Park Jina asked. It was the first time she had spoken. "For everyone," Zoomak replied. "War is expensive. Peace is better." "Peace for you," Park Jina said. "Slavery for us." "You are free to refuse," Vekvar said with a nasty smile. "But then the war continues." "And you will lose." Li Huan stood up slowly. His team stood with him. The aliens watched, expecting him to accept the terms or ask for small changes. "These terms are unacceptable," Li Huan said clearly. The aliens stared at him in shock. "Unacceptable?" Vextari asked. "Do you understand your situation? You are vastly outnumbered. Your technology is inferior. Your position is hopeless, perhaps," Li Huan said. "But we would rather die free than live as slaves." "You are making a mistake," Zomak warned. "This offer will not be made again." "Good," Park Jina said, "because we would refuse it again." Li Huan picked up the data tablet and placed it back on the table. "Humanity formally rejects these terms. We are withdrawing from all peace negotiations." "This is foolish," Vekvar roared. "You will all die." "Maybe," Li Huan said calmly, "but we will die as humans, not as pets." The aliens began talking angrily among themselves in their own languages. Li Huan and his team walked toward the door. "Wait," Vextari called out. "You cannot simply leave. We need to discuss this further." Li Huan stopped and turned around. "There is nothing more to discuss. You have made your position clear. We have made ours clear." "What will you do now?" Zulmak asked. Park Jina smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "You have 3 months to reconsider your position. After that, humanity will pursue alternative solutions." "What does that mean?" Vekvar demanded. "It means," Li Huan said, "that you will find out what happens when you corner a species that has nothing left to lose." The humans left the room. The aliens sat in stunned silence. They had expected the humans to beg, to negotiate, to accept partial terms. They had not expected complete rejection. "They are bluffing," Zulmash said finally. "Are they?" Vextari asked. "I tried to read their minds." "There was something there, something hidden." "What kind of something?" Vekvar asked. "I do not know, but they were not afraid." "They should have been afraid." The 3 alien leaders looked at each other. For the first time, they wondered if they had made a mistake outside the meeting room. Li Huan and his team walked quickly toward their ship. They did not speak until they were safely inside. "Well," Kim Dae-ho said, "that went exactly as we expected." "Yes," Li Huan agreed. "Now we go to the next phase." "Are you sure about this?" Park Jina asked. "Once we start, there is no going back." Li Huan looked out the window at the stars. "They gave us no choice. They want to make us slaves. The is something humanity will never accept." "Then we go to war," Park Jina said. "Yes," Li Huan said. "But not the kind of war they expect. Not the kind of war they are prepared for." Their ship left Nexus Prime and jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, the aliens began planning for a war they thought they would easily win. They had no idea what was coming. The blue planet Earth looked peaceful from space. But inside the United Earth Assembly building, the mood was anything but calm. Representatives from every nation and colony world sat in their seats, waiting for their president to speak. President Yoon Min-jae walked to the podium. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. But today, those eyes were hard as steel. Behind her stood the flags of all human nations and colonies. The room was completely silent. "My fellow humans," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the room and to every human world through quantum communication. "Yesterday, our diplomatic team returned from Nexus Prime. The alien coalition has shown us their true face." She paused, letting her words sink in. "They do not want peace. They want surrender. They want to make us slaves in our own galaxy." Angry voices rose from the assembly. Representatives shouted in different languages. President Yoon raised her hand for silence. "The aliens offered us terms that would destroy everything we have built. They want 70% of our worlds. They want to control our military, our trade, our future. They want to put watchers on every human planet to make sure we obey." More angry shouts filled the room. Some representatives stood up, their faces red with rage. "We rejected their terms," President Yoon continued. "Ambassador Lee Won made it clear that humanity will never accept slavery. We are withdrawing from all peace talks." The representative from Mars Colony stood up. "What does this mean for us? Will they attack?" "They might," President Yoon answered honestly. "But we will not live in fear. We will not beg for scraps from their table. We are human beings, not pets." In the military section of the building, Admiral Cho Sung-jin watched the speech on a large screen. Around him sat his top officers. General Bang Sora commanded the Space Marines. She was tough and smart, with short black hair and scars on her hands from training accidents. Director Kang Ye-jin ran military intelligence. He was quiet and thin, with eyes that seemed to see everything. "So it begins," Admiral Cho said softly. "The plan is ready," General Bang replied. "All units are in position. What about the civilian populations?" Director Kang asked. "They will be protected," Admiral Cho promised. "But they need to understand what is coming." Back in the assembly, President Yoon was explaining the withdrawal plan. "Starting immediately, all human trade with alien worlds will stop. All diplomatic missions will return home. All communication with the Galactic Council will end." A representative from the farming world of New Korea raised her hand. "But President, we sell food to 12 alien worlds. That is half our economy." "I know," President Yoon said. "This will hurt us, but it will hurt them more. How can you be sure?" asked the representative from the mining world of New BUSAN. Director Kang stepped forward. "Because we have been studying the galactic economy for 20 years. Human trade makes up 30% of all galactic commerce. Human technology is in 40% of all alien systems. Human logistics companies move 60% of all cargo between alien worlds." The room buzzed with surprise. Many representatives did not know these numbers. "When we withdraw," Director Kang continued, "supply chains will break, factories will stop working, transportation will fail. Food shipments will not arrive." "But won't this hurt innocent aliens too?" asked a representative. "Yes," President Yoon admitted. "But their leaders made this choice. They could have treated us as equals. Instead, they chose to see us as inferior. Now they will learn the cost of that mistake." The vote was unanimous. Every human world agreed to the withdrawal. Within hours, the effects began. Human cargo ships stopped their routes. Human merchants closed their shops on alien worlds. Human technicians left their jobs maintaining alien equipment. Human farmers stopped selling food to alien buyers. The galaxy noticed quickly. On the Vulcan homeworld, Trade Minister Kurthik received reports of missing shipments. "Where are the humans?" he demanded. "They have all left," his assistant replied. They gave no explanation. "Good," Kurthik said. "We will make more profit without them taking their share." But within days, problems started. The Vulcan Industrial cities needed rare metals that only human miners could provide. Their factories used human-designed computer systems that were starting to fail without human Maintenance on the Phylorian capital world. Analyst Mergith studied economic reports. The numbers were troubling. Food prices were rising because human agricultural worlds had stopped selling to alien buyers. Transportation costs were increasing because human shipping companies were gone. This is temporary, her supervisor said. We can replace the humans easily. I am not sure, Mergith replied. The humans were more important to our economy than we realized. The Korvax were having different problems. Their military equipment was breaking down. Many of their weapons used human-made components. Their ships used human navigation systems. Without human technicians to fix them, their mighty war fleets were becoming useless. How long until we can replace the human systems? War Marshal Thekvar asked his engineers. At least 2 years, the chief engineer replied, maybe longer. The humans designed these systems. We do not fully understand how they work. But the biggest shock came when the aliens tried to contact Earth. Every communication channel was dead. Every diplomatic frequency was silent. It was as if humanity had vanished from the galaxy. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Song Boyang implemented the final phase of the withdrawal. Operation Silent Night was the military secret plan. All human military forces would disappear from alien sensors. Are all ships ready? She asked her staff. Yes, Admiral, replied Captain O'Myray. All fleets are equipped with the new stealth systems. The aliens will not be able to find us. Good, from now on we are ghosts. Let them wonder where we went. The human fleets activated their stealth technology and vanished from every alien sensor. Patrol ships, defense platforms, even space stations seemed to disappear. The aliens. Military intelligence suddenly had no idea where the human forces were. In the Galactic Council chambers, panic was starting to spread. Chancellor Vexthari called an emergency meeting. The humans have cut all contact, she announced. Our attempts to communicate have failed. So what? High Command Zulmak replied. We told them to go away. They went away. You do not understand, Vexthari said. The economic damage is severe. Food shortages on 12 worlds. Transportation failures on 30 worlds. Industrial production down by 20% across the galaxy. Temporary problems, Zulmak insisted. We will adapt. What about our military situation? War Marshal Thekvar asked. Our forces are having equipment failures. Our intelligence networks cannot locate the human fleets. They are probably hiding near their homeworlds, Zulmak said. Cowards, but privately, the alien leaders were worried. They had expected the humans to negotiate. They had expected them to beg for better terms. They had not expected complete withdrawal. On Earth, President Yoon met with her advisors. How are our people handling this? Better than expected, General Bang reported. Colonial governors are cooperating. Citizens understand the situation. Morale is high. What about supplies? The president asked. We are self-sufficient, Director Kong replied. We prepared for this possibility. Our agricultural worlds can feed our population. Our mining worlds can provide raw materials. Our industrial worlds can manufacture what we need. And militarily? Admiral Cho smiled grimly. We are ready. The aliens think they know our capabilities. They are wrong. How wrong? President Yoon asked. Very wrong, Admiral Cho replied. For 3 years we have been fighting a defensive war. We showed them only what we wanted them to see. We made them think we were weak. But we are not weak. No, President, we are not weak. We have been preparing for this day for 20 years. We have technologies they do not know about. We have strategies they cannot imagine, President Yoon nodded. How long do we wait? 3 months, Admiral Cho said. Give them time to realize their mistake. Give their economy time to collapse. Give their people time to demand answers from their leaders. And if they attack us first? Then we show them what humanity is really capable of. Meanwhile, on the outer rim of human space, Captain O'Myray commanded the stealth ship Silent Thunder. Her mission was to watch alien military movements without being detected. Captain, her sensor officer reported, Velkan patrol ships are searching for us. Can they detect us? No, Captain. Our stealth systems are working perfectly. They are flying right past us. Captain O smiled. Good, record everything. I want to know their patrol patterns, their communication codes, their weapon systems. Yes, Captain. Should we report back to command? Not yet, we are ghosts, remember? We watch, we learn, we wait. The weeks passed. The galactic economy continued to collapse. Alien worlds that had depended on human trade were suffering. Factories closed, transportation stopped. Food became scarce. The alien leaders finally realized their mistake, but it was too late. They had pushed humanity too far. They had forced a peaceful species to choose between slavery and war. Humanity had chosen war, but it would not be the kind of war the aliens expected. It would not be the desperate struggle of a weaker species fighting for survival. It would be the calculated response of a species that had been underestimated for far too long. 2 months had passed since humanity withdrew from the galaxy. What started as small problems had become a disaster. Alien worlds were falling apart. On the Velkan homeworld, Emperor Kazmir stood in his throne room, reading reports. His 6 arms trembled with rage. How can this be possible? He demanded. How can one species cause so much damage by simply leaving? His advisor, Minister Drakvin, looked nervous. Emperor, the humans were more important than we realized. They provided 30% of our rare metals. Their shipping companies moved most of our cargo. Their technicians maintained our systems. Find replacements, the Emperor roared. We are trying, but it takes time. Our factories are closing because we cannot get the materials we need. Our people are angry because food shipments are not arriving. The Emperor's red eyes glowed brighter. Then we will force the humans to return. Prepare the war fleets. Meanwhile, on the Phylorian capital, Chancellor Vexthari met with her council. The blue-skinned aliens looked worried. Their psychic abilities could not solve economic problems. The situation is getting worse, reported Economic Advisor Kilinara. Food riots on 6 worlds. Industrial production down 60%. Transportation systems failing everywhere. What about our attempts to contact the humans? Vexthari asked. Nothing. Complete silence. It is like they disappeared from the galaxy. No species just disappears, Vexthari said. They are hiding somewhere. Find them. But they could not find them. Human ships, stations, and even small colonies seemed to have vanished from all sensors. The aliens' best technology could not locate the human military forces. In space, Captain Omare's stealth ship watched a Korvax patrol fleet searching for humans. The bear-like aliens were frustrated. Their sensors showed nothing, but they knew humans were out there somewhere. Captain, her communications officer said, we are receiving a message from the Korvax fleet. They are demanding that any human ships reveal themselves. Captain O smiled. Let them demand. They cannot see us even if we were right next to them. Her ship was equipped with new stealth technology that the aliens had never seen. It bent light and sensor waves around the ship, making it invisible. The humans had developed this technology in secret, testing it for years without the aliens knowing. Captain, another message. The Korvax commander says they will attack any human ships they find. Record everything, Captain O ordered. Command needs to know they are making threats. On Earth, Director Kang Yejin received reports from spy ships throughout the galaxy. The news was both good and bad. Good because the alien economies were collapsing. Bad because the aliens were getting desperate. They are planning military action, he reported to President Yoon and the military leaders. Emperor Kazmir is preparing to attack our frontier colonies. Which colonies? Admiral Cho asked. Probably Kepler 442b. It is a mining world with a small population. They think it will be an easy target. President Yoon looked worried. Can we defend it? Oh yes, Admiral Cho said with a smile. We can defend it very well. What about the people there? The miners and their families? They are already protected, General Bang replied. Major Nam Ji-hoon commands the defense forces there. He has been preparing for months. On Kepler 442b, Major Nam Ji-hoon watched the mining operation from his command center. The world looked peaceful. Miners worked in the open pits, digging valuable metals from the ground. Their families lived in small towns nearby. Children played in parks. It looked like a normal, defenseless colony, but appearances were deceiving. Hidden beneath the ground were massive defense systems, weapon platforms disguised as mining equipment, soldiers dressed as miners, shield generators hidden in residential buildings. Major, his communications officer reported, long-range sensors detect Vulcan ships approaching. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. How many ships? Major Nam asked. 12 warships? Standard attack formation? Major Nam nodded. Signal all units. Prepare for Operation Mousetrap. The Vulcan fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 442b. Admiral Victor commanded the attack force. He expected an easy victory against a small mining colony. Scan the planet, he ordered. Find their defenses. Admiral, sensors show minimal military presence. A few patrol ships, some ground installations. Nothing significant. Excellent. The humans are as weak as we thought. Begin the attack. The Vulcan ships moved toward the planet. Their weapons powered up. They expected the human colony to surrender. Quickly, but as they entered orbit, everything changed. The mining equipment on the surface suddenly revealed itself as massive weapon platforms. Energy beams shot up from the planet, striking the Vulcan ships with incredible force. The patrol? Ships activated advanced shields and weapons that no one had seen before. What is happening? Admiral Victor shouted. Where did these weapons come from? Admiral, the human ships are using unknown technology. Our weapons cannot penetrate their shields. Impossible. Human technology is primitive. But it was not impossible. It was happening. The human ships moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons cut through Vulcan armor like paper. Their shields absorbed the strongest Vulcan attacks without damage. Major Nam Ji-hoon coordinated the defense from his underground command center. Target their command ship first. Disable their communications. Yes, Major, firing gravitational disruptors. The new human weapons did not use energy or projectiles. They used controlled gravity fields to tear enemy ships apart. The Vulcan command ship twisted and broke as space itself was bent around it. Admiral, a Vulcan officer screamed. Our ship is breaking apart. Retreat, Admiral Victor ordered. All ships retreat. But only 3 ships escaped. The rest were destroyed or disabled by weapons the Vulcans had never imagined. The survivors limped back to their homeworld with terrifying news. The humans have been lying to us, Admiral Victor reported to Emperor Casimir. Their technology is not primitive, it is more advanced than ours. Impossible, the Emperor said. We have been fighting them for 3 years. We know their capabilities. No, Emperor. We know only what they wanted us to know. They have been holding back. They have weapons that can bend gravity, ships that can become invisible, shields that nothing can penetrate. The Emperor's 6 arms trembled. How many humans were on that colony? Less than 50,000, including miners and families. And they destroyed 9 of our warships? Yes, Emperor, and they made it look easy. The news spread quickly through the alien alliance. The Thylorians and Korvax received similar reports from their own intelligence sources. The humans were not weak. They had been pretending to be weak. Chancellor Vextari called an emergency meeting. We have made a terrible mistake, she announced. The humans have been deceiving us from the beginning. How is this possible? War Marshal Vekvar asked. Our psychic abilities should have detected any deception. Apparently not, Vextari replied. They have somehow developed immunity to our mental powers. They can hide their thoughts from U.S.? What do we do now? Asked High Command Zulmak. We try to make peace, Vextari said, before it is too late. But it was already too late. On Earth, President Yoon received the news of the Vulcan attack. Her kind eyes were now cold as winter. They attacked our people, she said to her advisors. They attacked a peaceful mining colony. The colony is safe. Admiral Cho reported. Major Nam's forces defeated them easily. But this was clearly a test attack. They will try again with larger forces. Then we will not wait for them to try. Again, President Yoon decided. Admiral, you have permission to begin Operation Prometheus, Admiral Cho smiled grimly. Yes, President. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. What about civilian casualties? General Bang asked. We target military and industrial facilities only, President Yoon ordered. We are not like them. We do not make war on innocent people. Understood, President. As the meeting ended, President Yoon looked out at the stars. For 3 years, humanity had fought a defensive war, always retreating, always seeming weak. The aliens thought they knew human capabilities. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The galaxy had pushed humanity too far. They had forced a peaceful species to choose between slavery and war. Humanity had chosen war, but it would not be the desperate struggle the aliens expected. It would be a demonstration of power that would reshape the galaxy forever. The real war was about to begin. Operation Prometheus began at exactly midnight Earth time. Across the galaxy, human forces that had been invisible for months suddenly appeared. But they were not the same forces the aliens remembered from the 3-year war, Fleet Admiral song. Boyang stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of human fleets throughout the galaxy. Each fleet was equipped with technology the aliens had never seen. All fleets report ready, her communications officer announced. Begin the operation. Admiral Song ordered. Remember, we target military and industrial sites only, no civilian areas. Yes, Admiral. The first target was the Korvax military headquarters on their homeworld. Commander Ru Sung-ho led a squadron of 12 ships toward the heavily defended planet. The Korvax had thousands of defense satellites and hundreds of patrol ships. Commander, enemy sensors are trying to lock onto us, his sensor officer reported. Let them try, Commander Ru replied. Activate phase shields. The human ships seemed to flicker and become transparent. The Korvax weapons fired at empty space as the human ships phased in and out of normal reality. It was technology based on quantum physics that the aliens could not understand. Target the command center, Commander Ru ordered. One shot should be enough. The lead ship fired a single beam of energy. But it was not ordinary energy. It was concentrated gravity, focused into a narrow beam. The massive Korvax command building simply collapsed inward, crushed by its own weight. The Korvax defenders panicked. Their weapons could not hit targets. That kept disappearing. Their strongest buildings were being destroyed by single shots. Retreat! The Korvax ground commander ordered. Fall back to secondary positions. But there was nowhere to retreat. More human ships appeared throughout the system, striking military targets with surgical precision. Within 2 hours, the entire Korvax military command structure was destroyed. On the Thylorian homeworld, Colonel Bae Hyun-soo led a different kind of attack. The Thylorians were psychic. They could read minds and control thoughts. They believed this made them unbeatable. They were wrong. Colonel, the Thylorians are trying to invade our minds, her pilot reported. Activate the mental shields. Colonel Bae ordered. Each human soldier wore a small device that generated a field around their brain. The Thylorian psychic attacks simply bounced off these shields like water off glass. Impossible, the Thylorian. Defenders said, no one can resist our mental powers. But the humans did resist. Their giant combat mechs walked through Thylorian cities, ignoring psychic attacks that should have driven them insane. The mechs destroyed military factories and weapon depots while the Thylorian defenders stood helpless. How are they doing? This? Thylorian General Xiantala demanded. Unknown, General. Our psychic attacks have no effect. It is like they are not really there. The truth was simpler. Human scientists had studied Thylorian psychic abilities for 20 years. They had developed technology to block mental attacks. The Thylorians had depended too much on their psychic powers. Without them, they were helpless. The most devastating attack came at the Velkan homeworld. Captain SCO Jin Young commanded a single ship, the Retribution. It was larger than most human ships, but still tiny compared to the Velkin fleet that came. To stop it, Captain, 300 Velkin ships are moving to intercept us, his tactical officer reported. Only 300? Captain SCO said with a smile. I expected more. The Velkin fleet commander, Admiral Thekmar, was confident. Surround the human ship, all weapons, maximum power. The Velkin ships fired everything they had. Energy beams, missiles, particle cannons, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But when the light faded, the human ship was still there, completely undamaged. Impossible, Admiral Thekmar said. Nothing can survive that much firepower. Captain, should we return fire? The tactical officer asked. Just once, Captain SCO replied. Fire the gravitational disruptor, maximum setting. The Retribution fired a single weapon. It looked like a ball of twisted space, dark and terrifying. When it reached the Velkin fleet, it exploded into a field of controlled gravity. The 300 Velkin ships were crushed instantly. Space itself bent around them, compressing their hulls into tiny balls of metal. In seconds, the entire Velkin fleet was destroyed. My God, the communications officer whispered. We just destroyed 300 ships with one shot. War is not a game, Captain SCO said grimly. They forced us to show them our true power. Back on Earth, Dr. Lim Sojin watched the battle reports in the war room. She was the chief xenoscientist, the person who had studied alien psychology for decades. The psychological impact will be enormous, she reported to President Yoon. The aliens based their confidence on their belief that humans were inferior. We have just shattered that belief. How will they react? President Yoon asked. Panic. Confusion, fear, they will not know what to do. Some will want to surrender. Others will want to fight to the death. And their military coordination, it will collapse. Each species will blame the others. They will not be able to work together anymore. Dr. Lim was right. On Nexus Prime, the alien leaders met in emergency session, but instead of planning their defense, they were arguing. This is your fault. Emperor Kazmar accused Chancellor Vexthari. Your psychic abilities were supposed to tell us if the humans were lying. My fault? Vexthari replied angrily. You were the one who wanted to make them slaves. You were the one who said they were weak. Both of you are fools, War Marshal Vexthari growled. We should have accepted their original peace offers 3 years ago. It is too late for that. Now, Zolmak said, the humans are destroying our worlds. We must fight back. With what? Vexthari demanded. They just destroyed 300 ships with one weapon. Our technology is useless against them. The argument continued for hours. The great alien alliance was falling apart. Fear and anger replaced cooperation. Each species began thinking only of protecting itself. Meanwhile, human forces continued their systematic destruction of alien military capabilities. They moved through space like ghosts, appearing suddenly to strike targets, then disappearing before the aliens could respond. The attacks were precise and devastating. Military bases were destroyed, weapon factories were crushed, spaceports were disabled, but civilian areas were left untouched. The humans were showing both their power and their mercy. Admiral Song received reports from all sectors. All primary targets have been neutralized, she announced to the fleet commanders. Phase 1 is complete. What are our losses? Asked Commander Ru. 0 casualties, no ships lost. Minimal damage to 3 vessels. The fleet commanders looked at each other in amazement. They had just fought the largest space battle in galactic history, and they had not lost a single person. Begin Phase 2, Admiral Song ordered. Secure all strategic systems. Prepare for the alien response. But there was no organized alien response. The 3 species were too busy arguing and blaming each other. Their fleets were scattered or destroyed. Their command structures were in chaos. On Earth, President Yoon addressed the nation once more. My fellow humans, today we have shown the galaxy that we will not be bullied. We will not be enslaved. We will not be treated as inferior beings. The assembly hall was packed. Every human world was watching. The mood was different from 2 months ago. Then there had been fear and uncertainty. Now there was pride and determination. The aliens thought they knew us, President Yoon continued. They thought we were weak because we preferred peace. They thought we were primitive because we did not boast about our weapons. They thought we were afraid because we tried to negotiate. She paused, looking directly into the cameras. They were wrong about everything. We are not weak. We are patient. We are not primitive. We are careful. We are not afraid. We are prepared. The applause was thunderous. For the first time in 3 years, humanity felt hope instead of fear. The war is not over, President Yoon said when the applause died down, but the outcome is no longer in doubt. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered. We have shown them that we are not just another species to be dominated. We have shown them that we are human. In space, Captain Omare's ship monitored alien communications. The messages were full of panic and desperation. The mighty alien alliance was collapsing into chaos. Captain, her communications officer, reported, we are receiving surrender offers from several Vulcan commanders. Record them and send them to command, Captain O replied. But maintain radio silence. Yes, Captain. Also, Thylorian worlds are requesting humanitarian aid. Their supply systems have collapsed. Send that to Command 2. The politicians will decide how to respond. Captain O looked out at the stars. 3 months ago, these same aliens had demanded humanity's surrender. They had offered insulting terms that would have made humans slaves. Now they were begging for mercy. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson. Humanity was not just another species to be pushed around. They were something new, something the aliens had never encountered before. They were a species that preferred peace, but was prepared for war. A species that valued mercy but would not tolerate injustice. A species that had been underestimated by everyone, including themselves. The real war was almost over, but the real lesson was just beginning. 6 months had passed since Operation Prometheus began. The galaxy looked very different now. The 3 mighty alien empires that had once ruled space were broken and scattered. Their fleets were destroyed, their worlds were in chaos. Their leaders were hiding or dead, but humanity had not conquered them. Instead, something more surprising had happened. The humans had simply stopped fighting and waited on Nexus Prime. The same station where the peace talks had failed, a new meeting was taking place. But this time, the aliens were not making demands. They were begging. Ambassador Li Huan walked into the meeting room. He looked exactly the same as 6 months ago, calm and polite. But everything else had changed. The aliens who had once sat proudly at the table now looked defeated and afraid. Chancellor Vextari had been replaced. The new Thylorian leader was called Peace Seeker Kilanara. She had blue skin like all Thylorians, but her white eyes showed only sadness and fear. Ambassador Li, she said softly, thank you for agreeing to meet with us. You requested this meeting, Li Huan replied. We are always willing to talk. Emperor Casmar was gone too. The new Vulcan leader was called Harmony Keeper Velanoth. His red eyes were dim, not bright like his predecessors. We come to ask for mercy, Velanoth said. Our people are suffering. Our worlds are dying. The third alien was new as well. War Marshal Vekvar had been killed by his own soldiers when they blamed him for the disaster. The new Korvax leader was called Shield-Bearer Breakdal. He looked smaller than other Korvax, less aggressive. We know we made mistakes, Breakdal said. We know we were wrong about humanity. We ask for your forgiveness. Liu Huan looked at each alien leader carefully. 6 months ago, these species had demanded humanity's surrender. They had wanted to make humans slaves. Now they were asking for mercy. What exactly are you asking for? Liu Huan said. Peace, Kilanara replied quickly. We want peace with humanity. You wanted peace 6 months ago, too, Li Huan said. But your terms were unacceptable. We understand that now, Velanoth said. We were arrogant. We thought we were superior to humans. We were wrong. Yes, you were wrong, Li Huan agreed. But the question is, what has changed? Why should we trust you now? The aliens looked at each other nervously. They had prepared for this question, but it was still difficult to answer. Because we have learned the truth, Brachtel said finally. We learned that the humans are not weak. We learned that humans are not primitive. We learned that underestimating humanity is a fatal mistake. And what do you offer in return for peace? Li Huan asked. Qil single quotes Nara pushed a data tablet across the table. These are our terms. We hope they are acceptable. Li Huan read the tablet silently. His expression did not change, but the aliens watched him nervously. After several minutes, he set the tablet down. These terms are interesting, he said, but I need to discuss them with my government. The meeting ended without agreement. The aliens returned to their ships to wait. Li Huan returned to Earth to meet with President Yoon and her advisors. What do they offer? President Yoon asked. Complete demilitarization of their aggressive fleets. Reparations for the war they started. Acceptance of human monitoring stations in their territory. Recognition of human equality in all galactic affairs. Admiral Cho looked surprised. They are giving us everything we could want. Almost everything, Director Kong added. They are keeping their local defense forces and their right to govern their own worlds. That seems fair, General Bang said. We do not want to rule them. We just want them to stop threatening us. President Yoon was quiet for a long moment. What do you think, Ambassador? Are they sincere? I believe they are desperate, Li Huan replied. Their economies have collapsed. Their people are hungry. Their governments are unstable. They need peace more than we do. But will they keep their promises? President Yoon asked. That depends on how we enforce the peace, Director Kong said. We need to make sure they cannot rebuild their aggressive capabilities. What do you propose? President Yoon asked. We accept their terms, but we establish permanent monitoring, Admiral Cho suggested. Human observers on their key worlds. Human bases in their territory. Human fleets patrolling their space. That sounds like occupation, General Bang pointed. Out. No, Admiral Cho replied. Occupation means we rule them. Monitoring means we watch them. There is a difference. President Yoon nodded slowly. We are not conquerors, we are guardians. We will protect the peace, not exploit the defeated. The decision was made. Humanity would accept the alien surrender, but with conditions. The galaxy would have peace, but it would be peace enforced by human strength. Admiral Song received her new orders. Instead of commanding war fleets, she would command peace fleets. Human ships would patrol the galaxy, making sure the defeated empires kept their promises. It is a big responsibility, she said to her staff officers. We must be strong enough to prevent war, but wise enough to allow freedom. Captain O'Mire was given command of a monitoring station in Velkin space. Her job was to watch for signs of military buildup or aggressive behavior. Remember, Admiral Song told her, we are not rulers, we are watchmen. We protect the peace, but we do not control their daily lives. Understood, Admiral. What if they test us? Then we remind them why they surrendered in the first place. The new system worked better than anyone expected. The defeated alien species focused on rebuilding their economies instead of their militaries. Without the constant threat of war, trade and commerce flourished. Human companies returned to alien worlds, but this time as equals, not servants. Human technology was shared freely, helping to repair the damage from the war. Human food shipments prevented famine on worlds that had depended on imports, but not everyone was happy with the new order. On some worlds, there were protests against human monitoring. Some alien leaders complained that the terms were too harsh. Director Kang kept track of these complaints through his intelligence network. There is some resistance, he reported to President Yoon, but it is not organized. Most aliens accept the new situation. What about their militaries? President Yoon asked. Completely dismantled. The aggressive fleets are gone. They keep only small defense forces for local security. And their economies? Recovering slowly. Human trade is helping them rebuild. But they are no longer capable of supporting large military forces. President Yoon was satisfied. The galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in decades. The threat of major war was gone. Smaller conflicts were quickly stopped by human peacekeepers, but the most important change was psychological. The alien species no longer saw humans as inferior. They had learned to respect human capabilities and human determination. Dr. Lim So-jin studied this change in her research. The aliens have accepted a new reality, she reported. They understand that humans are not just another species to be dominated. We are a force for stability in the galaxy. Are they afraid of us? President Yoon asked. Some are. But most have learned to trust us. We could have destroyed them completely, but we chose mercy instead. They respect that. 2 years after the failed peace talks, Ambassador Li Huan stood once again on Nexus Prime. But this time, he was not negotiating with enemies. He was meeting with partners. The Galactic Council had been reformed. Instead of 3 aggressive empires dominating smaller species, there was now true cooperation. Human representatives sat as equals with alien delegates. The galaxy is more peaceful now than it has been in centuries, Peaceseeker Kilinara said to Li Huan during a break. In the proceedings. Yes, Li Huan agreed. But peace requires constant vigilance. We must never forget the lessons of the past. What lessons? Harmony Keeper Velanov asked. That arrogance leads to destruction, that underestimating others is dangerous. That true? Strength comes from justice, not from force. Shieldbearer Breakdale nodded. Humanity taught us these lessons the hard way. We will not forget them. Li Huan looked out at the stars through the station's windows. The galaxy was vast and full of different species. Some were peaceful, some were aggressive, some were wise, some were foolish. But now they all understood one important truth: humanity would not be pushed around. They would not accept slavery or submission. They would not be treated as inferior beings, but they also would not be tyrants. They preferred cooperation to conquest. They chose mercy over revenge. They wanted partners, not subjects. The failed peace talks had taught everyone a valuable lesson. The aliens learned not to underestimate humanity. But humanity learned something too. They learned that sometimes you have to fight for peace. Sometimes you have to be strong to be kind. Sometimes you have to show your power to prevent its misuse. President Yoon, now in her second term, gave a speech on the 2nd anniversary of Operation Prometheus. We did not want war, she said to the assembled nations of Earth. We tried diplomacy, we tried negotiation, we tried compromise. But when faced with the choice between slavery and freedom, we chose freedom. When faced with the choice between submission and resistance, we chose resistance. When faced with the choice between weakness and strength, we chose strength. Today, the galaxy is at peace. Not because the strong dominate the weak, but because the just protect the innocent. Not because one species rules all others, but because all species respect each other.